Hello, fiber friends. I am going to spin some very fine yarn today because I want to see if I can use it to repair a shirt. That shirt has some holes in it that I'm pretty sure were put there by a cat. What do we think? Was this done by a cat or was this done by a cat? There is something universal about cats and fiber artists, isn't there? Like, cats chase balls of yarn. It's what they do, and cats and fiber artists have been interacting since people made the first ball of string, and I don't know, when did the cat get domesticated? I'm not sure, but maybe that was what lured the cat in from the wild, the ball of yarn. It had to have it. I am approaching summer this year with sort of a fresh look at my wardrobe because recently went through some health stuff and I have sort of changed my shape a little bit, and some of my clothes from last year are not fitting me. So I've had a couple of, you could say, thrifting excursions and I have a few new items that I'm going to put into my wardrobe, but when I was looking for thrifted items, I don't know, it's like taking in the strays, I guess. We're just on a cat theme today. I always feel like if I see something that has a hole in it or a rip or a missing button or something that I could easily mend, I get it, because I don't think that a lot of people know how to do mending, and I feel like if it's at a thrift shop, it's just gonna get tossed out if it doesn't sell. I did find two items that I initially looked at it and said, aha, I like this color, style, whatever, then noticed that it needed repair. So at least I'm not just looking for repairs straight off the bat. But something that I do find frustrating when I am thrifting is that it's hard to find thrifted shoes. And that's why today I have partnered with Vavia to put some shoes with my thrifted outfits. There are a bunch of things that I really love about Vavia and were the reason I wanted to work with them for a video. They are committed to eco-friendly, high quality, stylish, and comfortable footwear. I feel like I can never find comfortable shoes. Mostly I prefer to be barefoot and run around my house with no socks on. But these shoes are actually shoes that I feel comfortable wearing. So let's open them up and let's take a look. Their packaging is from recycled materials. Their shoes are crafted from recycled plastic bottles and designed to be lightweight and breathable with timeless fashion in mind. These are called the Miley. They come with 3 different shoelace options, so you can switch up your style. I also thought it would be fun to maybe spin some shoelaces, maybe get out my lucette in the future. I think that's a project for a different day, but it would be a lot of fun. But look at the cats. Isn't that the cutest? I wore these shoes for a whole day that involved a lot of walking, and I've put a few miles on them. They were extremely comfortable. They have a cushion on the back so that I don't get blisters on my heels. The soles are really thick and squishy. Let's check out our next pair. These are fancy. They have sparkles. These are Azura, and I love the cute bows on them. That's adorable. Very whimsical detail, and they sparkle. You all know I love sparkles. These are the first dressy shoes that I have ever worn that didn't give me instant blisters. The heel padding is comfortable, and I can wear it for miles of walking. The bottom of the shoes have anti-slip rubber. They fold and flex comfortably and are also machine washable. It's time to circle back around to cats. The Audrey. They have an embroidered cat on top, which now qualifies as the most whimsical shoe I have in my wardrobe. If you would like to add Vavia shoes to your wardrobe, you can use my code 3EVE10 to receive 12% off within the first 3 days after this video is published. You can receive 10% off after that for up to a year. These are the only shoes I'm wearing lately, and I've received so many compliments about them. I've also received some inspiration from them. I think this shirt would have been really cute with these shoes. Probably not with these pants, different pants, but even just a pair of blue jeans would be fine. And I like the shirt because it has the orange in there that kind of repeats with the orange in the shoes. But friends, what do we think? Was this done by a cat or was this done by a cat? I really think someone had a cat launch off their stomach while they were wearing this shirt. This fabric is kind of cheesy. It's very, very, very thin. There's not even a light behind me and you can see my hand through it. So it's something I'd probably layer, but I want to experiment, and it's worth it to me to try the experiment. And it's still out of the landfill. And if we learn something, then it was a teacher. I happen to have some cotton that is exactly the same color as this. I don't think I could have dyed it to be any closer than that. When I did the collab video with Charlie, I had a lot of people asking me, how do you spin so fine, so thin, that you can make thread and sew things with your handspun? And so I'm going to get my Nano, my e-wheel Nano. It's an electric spinning wheel. And I'll explain why as we get it set up. But friends, I think it's time that we should get spinning. The reason why I'm using my Nano for spinning something very, very fine is because it is pretty fast and you need more twist when you spin very thin. There we go, we're all set, just like that. Now, this slides around on the table. It's slippery. There are some holes in it that you can get suction cups or do different things to mount it on a base so that it stays put. But hear me out. I don't think everyone should do this. It might be frustrating, but if you can, try spinning without anchoring it down, because to keep it going so that it doesn't, there we go, so that it doesn't walk towards me, I have to have just the lightest, faintest touch. Just like that. Usually if I record with this and I time lapse it, I can see it kind of walking a little bit. And if I did this for a couple hours, probably I would need to scooch it back again. But in the moment, if I can keep it that light of a take up and that fast of a spin, and I can keep up with it, ooh, then I know that my yarn is very, very, very fine. If we're gonna sew with this, it has to be a 2-ply. So let's kind of do a ply back test with the piece we have so far and see how it looks. It looks like thread to me, but I do see a couple inconsistencies. There's kind of a thick spot right there. So I'm gonna spin another sample and try to have a little more consistency with it. To start, I have a pretty strong tug because of the leader. Oh dear, that totally messed up. I won't edit that out. I'm gonna keep that in because I do want you to see that I struggle too. A lot of times people are like, you spin perfectly, and it's like, well, there's a lot of practice involved in getting to that point, but also I do edit my videos. I don't, you know, I can't make my videos 10 hours long with dropping my spindle the whole time. I mean, maybe I could. I don't know. Does anyone want to see that? I don't know if anyone wants to see that. Anyway, I'm going to get this going again, but I'm going to turn it down actually. I had the speed of the twist all the way completely maxed out. So I'm going to start it a little slower just to get going, just to get past the point where the leader is on the bobbin. If you're spinning fine, this is bound to happen because you need so much twist, especially with cotton. that twist, if it gets in your fiber supply, you just have to stop and fix it. There's no twist allowed in that fiber supply. I'm gonna put some floof on floof right there, and then I'm gonna unroll this to get some of the twist out so that I can draft it a little thinner. Kind of like that. But I will need more twist for it to hold up. So let's get it going. Oh, there's a thick spot here. I'm unrolling it so I can draft it just a smidge thinner. Yeah. I'll need to let it build up a little bit of twist though. There we go. Okay, where was I? A short forward draft is where you don't let any twist into the fiber supply. You keep the twist between your drafting hand, which is the one closest to the spinning wheel, and you slide those fingers back into the fiber supply and you pull out some fibers, and then as you slide back again, the fibers get their twist, but your fingers are holding back the twist. In this case, because it is such a fine spin that I'm doing, I can't with my fingers get in there to just pull out the few strands, the few individual fibers that I need, because like my fingers are too big and clumsy for that. So I'm using the twist as if the twist is my pinching finger coming in to pull some fibers out. So I let just a tiny, tiny bit of twist in there, just enough to grab a couple of the fibers and pull it out. So if you watch my fingers, you'll see from my thumb, it's rolling and pulling and then sliding. So I roll the twist out until I just grab as much fiber as I want to maintain my consistency, and then I pull those fibers out using the sort of stickiness of the twist. So it's kind of a short forward draft, but the twist is allowed, but only a tiny bit. I'm keeping a fairly steady rhythm and pace because consistency is probably a key thing to worry about when you're spinning thread. We probably have enough. I'm just going to fold it back over on itself and use that as sort of a length of thread like I would snip off to sew with. And if I need more, I'll just spin a little bit more. But let's start with what we've got so far. I did pick up these needles at the store to do this project with because they have a blunted tip. The reason why I want a blunted tip is because this fabric is a knit, and if I use sharps, I feel like I might snag the fabric, and then I could make a run in the fabric, or I could make another hole. I would just end up making it worse. So we'll try these, but again, this fabric is very, very, very flimsy, so I don't know. I don't know. Cross your fingers, friends. This is definitely a try it and see situation. The next question is, can I thread this needle? We're about to find out. It threaded. Cool. All right, now how are we gonna sew up these holes? Friends, my camera battery died and I didn't get any footage of the first test putting the needle through the fabric to see if it would snag or work at all. I'll let you know, it did work. Right now, it is Tour de Fleece, which follows Tour de France. When they spin, we spin. It's the most popular event in the spinning community, and it's great fun. So for my daily spins, I decided to work up a bunch more of this thread. I did 2 bobbins. Then I applied those 2 bobbins together to make mending thread. If you've ever done a bunch of stitching and then let your thread and needle dangle only to see it spin around a whole bunch of times, If you've ever done that, you know that just the simple act of sewing in and out of fabric with a needle and thread adds twist to your thread. That is why you cannot sew with a single piece of yarn. You have to ply it. If you use a single, it will untwist while you're sewing and your yarn will fall apart. It's also not as strong and durable, and so that's the reason why all sewing thread needs to at least be a 2-ply. Traditionally, it's a 2-ply. After my thread was ready to go, I decided to get this t-shirt ready to go. I could not find my lightest fusible interfacing. This one was light, but not the lightest. I'm not sure exactly what weight it is because it was in my scraps bin of stuff, but I decided to iron on some fusible interfacing to the back of this t-shirt. This is generally recommended for mending things like this, especially in a fabric that can run like a knit can, but I will spoiler this right now. This ended up being a little bit too thick, and you can definitely see the interfacing. This t-shirt material is just so thin that I think anything was going to show through there, but I guess maybe it doesn't show up as much when I'm wearing it as it does when it's just loose and you can see the light shining through it. The stabilizer did make it pretty easy to stitch on here though, so that was nice. I thought about stitching some little claw mark designs onto the repair just to sort of accentuate the cat theme of it all, but in the end I decided I would just kind of go where my heart led and stitch some little, I don't even know what these are. They're kind of designs, but they're kind of random. I just had fun stitching and exploring and experiencing my hand-spun thread. And I still cannot get over how close this color was. It's almost like they came out of the same dye vat or something, because that color is such a close match. I could not have done it if I dyed it myself. I enjoyed this project very, very much, and I have some ideas for other future mending projects with handspun yarn, handspun thread. I hope you'll join me for those and let me know, what do you think of my repaired, mended t-shirt and my cat shoes? Thank you so much, Vavia, for sponsoring this video. Happy spinning, everyone, and I'll see you all next time.